New developments to report tonight on a story that we broke last night on this show. We reported last night that two progressive power brokers are supporting a strategy in which Senate Democratic leadership would revoke the leadership positions, including chairmanships, of any Democratic senator who helps Republicans block a vote on health reform. Within hours of that reporting, two things happened. On the left, the Political Action Committee Progressive Change Campaign Committee started a petition urging Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid to adopt that very strategy. Quote, any Democratic senators who support a Republican attempt to block a vote on health care reform should be stripped of their leadership titles. Americans deserve a clean up or down vote on health care. So far, according to the PAC, they say they have more than 29,000 signatures. But the right is taking action, too. Dick Armey, the former Republican congressman turned fake grassroots organizer, blasted out a mass email today about his new project as chairman of FreedomWorks. Mr. Armey's recent work, you'll recall, has included the distribution of action kits that suggested methods for how to disrupt town hall congressional meetings. But Dick Armey's new FreedomWorks project is the online war room, which he says is designed to, quote, stop the liberal left from sneaking their hostile takeover of America's healthcare system through the U.S. Senate. As part of the online war room, you'll find a list of call targets, mostly moderate Democratic senators whose offices you are urged to call with the message that, quote, a vote for cloture, in other words, a vote to end a Republican filibuster, equals a vote for government-run health care. So according to Dick Armey's logic, if you're in favor of letting everyone in Congress vote either for or against health reform, you're really just in favor of health reform. And if you're in favor of health reform, that just means you're in favor of a public insurance option to compete with private insurance. And if you're in favor of a public option, you are actually in favor of letting the government take over health care. So, by that simple logic, cloture equals communism. But even as Mr. Armey gets lost in a maze of his own conditional statements and leaps of logic, we do have a real-life example of what it looks like when government really does get involved in Americans' health care. In the state of Oklahoma, there is now a law, which hasn't yet taken effect, that would require physicians to collect specific, detailed personal information from any woman who gets an abortion. The 37 questions suggested in the legislation include the date and location of the abortion, the patient's age, marital status, race, education, state or county of residency, and history of pregnancies. Also, the reason the patient is seeking an abortion, the method of payment the patient used, whether the patient was a state employee at the time of the abortion. But the law doesn't just stipulate that physicians ask questions like those. They're then required to send the completed questionnaires to the state, where the health department will use the information from each woman's form to create an annual abortion report to be posted online. They want to post this stuff online. A former Democratic state rep is challenging the law in court. But to be clear, the state of Oklahoma is trying to mandate the collection and online publication of this personal medical information about abortions. We should probably notify Dick Armey. He will want to add some Oklahoma state legislators to that call targets list if he's really campaigning against a government takeover of health care. Joining us now is Megan Carpentier. She's editor of News and Politics at Air America, where, full disclosure, I also work. Megan, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Is there any reason, besides trying to intimidate women who might seek an abortion, that you would want to post this kind of information online?
Well, they've been very specific that their end goal is to keep women from having abortions. They think by posting the information online that somehow this will turn into some sort of public health strategy to keep women from obtaining abortions in the state of Oklahoma. They consider women seeking a legal medical procedure that is actually the most common medical procedure in this country is a public health problem.
In terms of the specific types of information they're asking, are you a state employee? What's your age? What's your race? What county do you live in? How did you pay? What's your pregnancy and abortion history? That information is so specific that it seems like it would go beyond purely statistical use and could be used, or at least would be seen by a lot of women as potentially being used to identify people. I mean, it's not like there's that many people in Oklahoma.
Well, and particularly if you work in the state health department, you could actually be in a position where you your doctor fills out the form, and then it's submitted to one of your colleagues and it has your very specific medical information on there. So then they know you're a state employee, they know what race you are, what age you are, how many pregnancies you've had, how many miscarriages you've had. So just releasing this personal information. And in fact, there's been a history of doing this. There was a lawsuit in Kansas in 2003 where the then state attorney general tried to get this very, very similar information out of Planned Parenthood and eventually prevailed. Planned Parenthood was forced to turn over the data, and then somehow that data made its way to Bill O'Reilly's show.
Wow.
Individual medical reports with names redacted was given by the state attorney, someone in the state attorney general leaked to Bill O'Reilly's show.
The overall politics of abortion is well-worn territory in the United States and has been for my entire life as a person who was born in 1973, which is a big important year in abortion rights. But it seems like what's emerged in recent years is a strategy among those who are opposed to abortion rights to not try to, well, not as a replacement for trying to just make abortion illegal, because they're still trying to do that too, but as a supplement to that, to try to make it a horrible thing for women to try to get, to make it a harder thing to obtain and to make it a more intimidating process. Do you think that's right?
I think that's exactly what they're doing. That having realized that they can't strictly go to court and overturn Roe v. Wade, having been turned down time and time again, having failed to pass amendments banning it in the states, what they're doing and what they're saying that they're doing is they're trying to make it as difficult as possible. That if they can't change your mind, if they can't make you believe as they believe about abortion, if they can't change government policy and your rights and your constitutional rights under Roe v. Wade, then what they'll do is they'll just make it so difficult that for many people it becomes a series of impossible hurdles.
Not just difficult, but intimidating.
And very intimidating, so that you have to go to the doctor twice. You have to go through these gauntlets of protesters twice. When you have a notification thing, you have a doctor who, under an Oklahoma law that just got thrown out, would have had to describe in detail the fetus you were about to abort in order to try to get you not to. It's a very common tactic.
That kind of strategy is called thuggery when you're talking about things other than politics. Megan Carpentier, editor of News and Politics at Air America, thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.